Hello guys, welcome to my channel, the Collector, and for today's video I'm gonna review the Marvel Legends Moon Knight as seen on the Moon Knight TV series on Disney Plus. Now let's take a closer look on the packaging. As you can see, there's the Moon Knight logo and also the Disney Plus logo, and at the side of the box there's the portrait of Moon Knight, as you can see at the other side, and at the back there's another portrait of Moon Knight, and there's the description for Moon Knight. You can pause it if you want to further read it, and also it shows the whole figures on the Infinity Ultron Build-A-Figure. And at the top of the box there's the Moon Knight logo, and at the base of the box there's the standard description for a Hasbro toy. So without further ado, let's proceed. Here is Moon Knight out of the packaging. He is part of the Infinity Ultron wave, but he didn't come with any build-a-figure parts, and I got to say this is probably one of the most unique figure out of all the figures on that wave, probably because the details on his suit are really great, and there are only a few minor problem with this figure which I will be discussing later on. So without further ado, let's proceed. First of all, I've removed his cape so that I can show the entirety of the figure. I mean, I can show the whole details on the figure itself. So let's focus first on the head sculpt. As you can see, the bandages on his face are sculpted. He really looked like a mummy, and I really like what Hasbro did on translating this to an action figure. As you can see, his eyes are painted with white, and also his hood has the moon logo, and there are lots of panel linings or character lines on this hood that made it very unique. It's not just a simple hood. I'm really glad that Hasbro did that. And now moving on with the body. As you can see, he really looked like a mummy. His body was covered with bandages or cloth, similar with mummies. Now let's focus on the logo on his chest. As you can see, it was also painted very well. You can clearly see the silver part. There's some sculpting in there. I think there are hieroglyphs or Egyptian writing on this part, and I really like that they did not miss a single paint on this intrinsic logo part, and also this small gold parts. This part really looks like it's made of gold and covered with bandages. Really great job for Hasbro. And at the back there's also the pattern or the bandages. I mean, this body really look like it has been what we call it, it has been mummified for years. Anyway, let's move on. As you can see, even on his arms you can clearly see the bandages, and also his bracers. There's a moon logo on his bracer, and I really like these intrinsic details. As you can see, the moon logo, it looks like it was under the bandages, and that's a really cool detail for Hasbro. There's a little problem on, I mean, for me it's a little bit call it a little bit weird. As you can see on this bicep swivel, if you put that on that orientation, there's a clear gap between his delts and arms. As you can see, he has a pretty large bicep and tricep. I think this is a similar problem with the Taskmaster Marvel Select, but it's fine, no big deal for me. And now for the belt part, as you can see, there's the same moon logo, and also I really like what they did on his skirt. They painted the lining gold, and if you take a closer look, there's also some texture in there, and even at this end of his skirt, that's really cool. And as I've said earlier, there's some hieroglyph or Egyptian writing that's sculpted on his thighs, and I think it's unique from each other. And at his knees, there's also this moon logo. Now moving on with his boots, as you can see, the boots is pretty much original sculpt. It's really cool. I'm glad that Hasbro didn't get lazy on these parts. And even at the bottom of his feet, there's the bandages pattern on his shoes. I'm glad they didn't make him wear a Crocs or Converse shoes. That's really great for Hasbro. Now let me show you his cape. As you can see, this is just a standard cape, soft plastic cape that has a peg that you will just attach on his back. But I think if you can see it, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a texture on this cape that somewhat this cape looks like a actual fabric. I mean, if you can see that this part, there's a pattern really similar to bandages of the mummies, and that's really cool for Hasbro. Now let's move on with his weapon, the moons inspired, I don't know what to call this, moon boomerang maybe. But as you can see, there's also a sculpting on these weapons that's really good intrinsic details. Also at the other boomerang or frisbee weapon, whatever you want to call it. And the good thing about it is that you can actually combine these two pieces. As you can see, I mean, it's just a little bit thicker. You can't hold it with one hand, but it's a great detail since he did this on the Disney Plus show. Moving on with the accessories, Moon Knight came with two pairs of hand. The weapon holding hand, as you can see, it was installed by default on the figure, and a pair of closed fist hands that also has the same cool detail. And as I've shown a while ago, he also came with these two moon inspired frisbee boomerang or bat arang or moon arang, whatever you want to call it. Moving on with the articulation, Moon Knight's head can rotate 360 degrees. He can wiggle his head because it's a ball joint. He can look up that far and move down that far. His arms can reach up to that point. It can rotate 360 degrees. He has a bicep swivel which is a little bit loose. He also have a double jointed elbow with the pinless tech. His hands can rotate 360 degrees and can move side to side depending on the alternate hand that you're using. He has a torso articulation that can rotate 360 degrees. It can also move up and move down that far. Maybe because it was hindered by the chest armor. He can do the split. He can kick that far. He cannot kick back very far because of his skirt. There's a tie cut, a double jointed knees with the pinless tech, and an ankle pivot that can also move up and move down. Moon Knight is standing around 6.5 inches tall. Here is Moon Knight side by side with his fellow Midnight Sun member, the Marvel Legends Defender Strange. Here is Moon Knight side by side with the Marvel Select Captain America, Sam Wilson. And finally, here is Moon Knight side by side with the Mesco 112 Collective, Moon Knight. To conclude my video, this Moon Knight action figure is a really decent action figure because of the originality of the body mold. I think they didn't reuse a lot of body molds since his whole body was wrapped around with the bandages. And I got to say, he is probably one of the best figure on the Infinity Ultron line, even though I haven't reviewed the other figures yet. And I'm really biased about Moon Knight since I've only got the Mesco version, which is a more modern take on Moon Knight. But Disney Plus design for Moon Knight is really great, and it really represents the god he's serving, which is Khonshu, an Egyptian god. You can make this figure better if you can replace his cape with an actual cloth material with wires at the end, so that the cape will be posable as well for your toy photography. So if someone's gonna ask me if this figure is a worth it action figure, I got to say it is. For a $25 action figure, you have great details and great articulation, and most importantly, it is accurate with its TV counterpart. I just wish on season 2 Moon Knight will get more weapons, so that if they translate it to action figure, we will get more accessories. So guys, don't forget to click the like and subscribe button and also the bell icon. Thank you all guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed my video. Take care guys and have a nice day.